What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Division Three Diaries YouTube page, also with the Division Three Diaries podcast. Today, I am joined by the lovely Connor Martin of Smith College. So, Connor, Coach Martin, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Hi everyone, I'm Connor. I'm the associate head coach at Smith College, located in Northampton, Massachusetts, a Division III school, a part of the NewMAC conference.
Well, Connor, I want to start out by once again congratulating you on the 35th under 30 and as well as on a crazy good season for Smith. I'm pretty sure your guys' only losses this season were to teams that were either ranked or receiving votes, which is an insane thing to say. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. This was an awesome season. I think honestly for us was only the beginning. I think we have some really cool building blocks and really just like high level talent coming in. So I'm super, super excited about that. But yeah, last season was one for the ages for sure.
Especially that new Mac tournament. You can't complain about that. Um,
No, absolutely not.
so I kind of want to start out by obviously you're an associate head coach, but how did you initially get into coaching volleyball or just coaching in general, even if you didn't start out with volleyball?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, one of my how I kind of started was I played volleyball in high school, loved it, didn't really want to stop, and so I started playing club. I went to another Division III school called the University of Mary Washington in Virginia. Played there, played club, and they used to have a requirement there that you had to do a physical education class. They don't have that anymore. But for me, I just ended up taking a volleyball class, and it was taught by Matt Troy, who is the head coach at Mary Washington, who then went to Johns Hopkins, won a national championship, and now is at Elon as the head coach. So he taught it, and I kind of was just talking to him, and he was like, "Hey, like, do you need a manager?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Absolutely need a manager. Like, would love that." So I kind of just got tossed in that way. I did never saw my career going into coaching really at all. Um, 2020 hit. I was a junior and had an internship lined up, not in coaching whatsoever. And, you know, internship got canceled and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So Matt had sent me the graduate assistant position at Smith here. And then, as did the current head coach at Gardner Webb, who replaced Matt at Mary Wash, he also sent it to me and was like, "Hey, I think this would be a really good idea. Like, you don't know what you want to do yet. So why don't you just try it out?" And, the rest is history, I like to say. So it's been really cool ever since just to be a part of Smith and having all that different experience. It's been really great.
Oh, so you kind of got into coaching just kind of by chance. Like
Just kind of by chance. Yeah,
if that internship had never been canceled, who knows what would have happened from there? That's actually
exactly.
quite interesting. I mean, I kind of got into coaching as well around the same idea. I was kind of like when I was at Bard, I was like they were like we're looking for a manager. Well, because I was on the men's
Mhm.
team, the head coach Coach Zawaski, also a 30 under 30 recipient. He goes, "Hey guys," he texts our group chat like the women's team's looking for a manager. I said, "I'll do it." And there was originally
Yeah,
supposed to be three of us, but I ended up just doing it myself the whole year. And then from there, I kind of loved it. Um,
that's
so
awesome.
look at that. Same,
That's
same.
really awesome.
Um,
Yeah, I have a lot of appreciation for the people that like kind of started as managers. I think it's a really cool just like role. You kind of see it like from that perspective. Like you see it maybe not as much as the athlete perspective, and you kind of see the background into it. So I think you kind of get a better understanding of what it takes maybe to be a coach. So
I love it as well because he kind of like kind of help shape your coaching philosophy too because you kind of step back and you really get to listen because I feel like as a player when you hear a coach like speak you're kind of just taking in that info and yeah obviously applying it on the court is a lot different than applying it but like you get to see also how other players as a coach or as a manager how the players are receptive to that like what are they
mhm.
receiving correctly and what are they kind of just going in one ear and out the other and I think that really helped me so kind of going into that question, how did that first like I guess managerial experience kind of shape how you coach today, your coaching philosophy, your coaching style, if at all?
Yeah, I think that first experience, like learning under Coach Troy, was really like a really great experience because it was like my first taste in real coaching. Like he really let me be a part of it, which is really nice. Like just understanding like why we do drills. And I think it's always important just to ask questions, like why we do this, like all these kind of things. And it really showed my first year at Mary Wash, we went to the round of 32 for the NCAA tournament. And that was a really good feeling just to be a part of it and just like understand, like, hey, I want to get back here. Like this taste is fun. Like, how do we keep doing this? So Matt was a really great resource for me. And then I think what really helped me, honestly, as much as I hate seeing Matt go and go to Johns Hopkins and, winning a national championship the year after he left us, but coming in and working with Alex and Alex keeping me on as a manager as well, like being able to see the two different coaching styles was kind of like really good for me to be able to say like, all right, this is how one person does it, this is how another, and kind of able to develop my own. And then obviously once I got to Smith here and like being able to work with Greg, who's been like a true mentor to me, like seeing that just kind of take off has been really, really awesome.
I definitely agree with the being able to see like multiple different perspectives on coaching, because even at different levels, with like for example like Division 3, I like at Bard, Coach Lindsay is very like she's very receptive like to the mental game, and she's very like focused on that. Whereas Coach Roslyn at Sage is very hands on, like she's
Mhm.
very like I'm going to physically put your hands where they need to be on blocking
Yeah.
if I can, obviously. So
Yeah.
I think that really is a good comment, especially for players, because obviously, like when growing up, they're gonna have tons of different coaching styles. Um,
Totally.
so like it just kind of shows that even coaches have to adjust to those coaching styles based on the staff they're on, stuff like that. So I think, I mean, I definitely agree with that. But obviously, you've mentioned Coach Matt a lot so far. Is he your biggest mentor? And if not, who would you say has been your biggest mentor? Whether it's a coach you had when you were playing, a coach that you've had since then, or even a coach from a different sport, just someone that's kind of shaped the person you
Yeah.
are today.
Yeah, I think Coach Matt really gave me my beginning, so I give him a lot of credit with that, like just introducing me to coaching. I think honestly though, like my biggest mentor, and I mentioned it a little bit with other stuff that I've done, but like Coach like Greg Walker here at Smith has really taken me under his wing and really has allowed me to grow and has shown me what it's like to be a coach, not only on and off the court, but also be a coach and a husband, and he's a father. He has two kids who are like incredible humans, and just being able to do all that while also he coaches our US Paralympic team. So being able to balance a D3 team, the national recognition, and a USA team has been like just like mind-boggling. So he's like shown me a lot of how to be able to do all of that, which has been really awesome. And I am forever thankful for all the moments that he's shown me and taught me, and just the different things that he has shown me throughout the way. So I could not be more thankful for all of that. And he's allowed me to not only come back here to Smith as a full-time assistant, but then also work with his national team as his like director of ops team lead role. So which has been really awesome.
That's incredible. So is he like the Paralympic coach for the women's side,
For the men's side,
men's side?
actually. So, yeah. So his background actually is in a lot of men's volleyball, and then came here to Smith to coach the women's team, and it's been history ever since. So it's been really awesome to just to be a part of and just to see the growth. So yeah, it's been awesome.
That's absolutely incredible. So obviously you're mentioning that he's had a big impact on your life, but how has
Mhm.
Smith volleyball as a whole had an impact on your life, from the players to the community, to even the
Yeah.
fans coming out to support, all of the in between? How has that kind of
Yeah.
shaped your life since you've joined Smith in a positive way?
Yeah. Smith is my second home. Honestly, it's really truly become my second home. The athletic department, from, the athletic trainers to the sports information directors to the other coaches, like they're some of the most supportive people you'll ever meet. Just from going to games, shooting you a text after a game, and the fans also. We this year for our NEWMAC championships, the athletic department sponsored a fan bus
Mhm.
for both the semifinals and the championship, and it was just really proud to see how much people started to care about volleyball and Smith volleyball. For us here at Smith, our basketball team is legit. National finalists, like top of the top, like top five in the country every year, and the support that they get is just incredible. And they are a well-oiled machine, well coached, and all that kind of stuff. So be able to see that and how much the student athletes do care about sports here, and see that translate over to volleyball was one of the best things I saw all of last year. And just like the fans that ran onto the court with us to celebrate, like winning the NEWMAC championship, like it was great. And then, the basketball team was over in California during that time, and they sent us a message, like a FaceTime, like, hey, congrats. Like it was just the support that everybody has for each other here is unmatched. And it's not like that at every athletic department that I've ever been at.
I mean, you gotta love that. I think when at Sage, like what really helped as well, like you guys have the basketball team. We had the men's volleyball team was very, very supportive, especially like the
Yeah.
senior class from the men's team. Like you could probably put like 100 people on one side of the gym and then like the five of them on the other side and they would out cheer the other those 100 people. They were just so loud. They would sit right behind our bench. Got a little annoying sometimes because I was roommates with a couple of them, but it's
Mhm.
it's an incredible thing. So obviously like
Yeah.
fans are a big part of the game, but also the bench and the players. So obviously your side, like Smith, how they kind of interact and how they cheer
Yeah.
each other on. But who's an opponent that you just love playing against because you love their bench energy, you love their fan energy? Like for us with Sage, as much as we didn't like losing to them, going into like Nazareth and playing them out there with St. John
Mm,
Fisher and the volleyball communities they have, obviously having two really good women's teams and two nationally ranked men's teams,
yeah.
but like the community, like the fans, especially like when we were in the Empire 8 playoffs, like the fans were just absolutely incredible. Obviously, they weren't cheering for us, but like their cheering
Yeah.
was just it was so contagious that you couldn't not love it. So what's a team that like whether it was like they traveled to see their team play at you guys, or like you guys traveled and you just saw the fan environment. What's an opponent you just love playing against because of that?
Oh man, I feel like there aren't a lot of opponents in our conference that I really just love playing. Like it's always just a heated battle. But I remember from last year, we went to it was our second weekend. Second weekend, we went to SUNY Cobleskill, and they were just like really into it. Like they were really into volleyball, just like really loved that passion. And we kind of saw it come back to us. They played our basketball team in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and like they sold out half the bleachers. Like it was very much contagious, and I really loved that because that's not always the case, especially for those smaller schools. Like when we went to SUNY Cobleskill, like I was expecting maybe like 15 people in the stands. So like to see as many people that were there, and like as loud as they were, I was pretty impressed with that. So I think that would kind of be, I don't know if I can say anyone in our conference. Those kind of get a little bit tougher. Yeah.
Well, I mean, shout out to Nikova skill because fun little tidbit, it's about 15 minutes down the road from me. So
There you go.
I
There you
mean,
go.
I know the head coach there was actually the Sage men's coach before
Really?
Reed. Yeah, she coached the Sage
Okay.
men's team, and now obviously Reed Hartell is there. But
Yeah.
she's an incredible person. Her whole staff is incredible. And their
Yeah.
players are really like I see them at work all the time. Like they're really
Yeah.
friendly. And then I just remember a couple of years ago, especially a couple of years ago, when SUNY Kobe had a girl named Alexis Miranda, who was an absolute beast at the net. So I mean that environment too, and like you mentioned with the basketball team, they're especially their women's side being top in one of the top teams in the nation. I
Yeah.
mean I can see, and I know for a fact because when I joined the Sage staff, one of the first things I said is, "Oh, I'm from Cobleskill," and they're like, "We hate that gym," and I'm like, why? Like, gotta love SUNY Kobe, and they were saying like how the mascot was like messing with them and
Yeah.
like how the fans were just. I'm like, I mean, that's the environment you want.
Exactly. It's a pretty dark gym too. We were kind of like, this is dark in here. Like, why is it like this? So maybe it was just that weekend, but it was pretty dark in there.
So, kind of going off, you obviously mentioned the new Mac, but I feel like
Yeah.
one of the gyms that has to have at least some sort of environment has got to be MIT. Obviously, like with the
Yeah.
men's side being like same kind of deal with Fisher Naz, like their men's team is nationally ranked, their women's team is nationally ranked. But obviously, you guys had probably one of the biggest conference championship upsets in the nation. Um, Going into it, obviously MIT was ranked top five in the nation. They were receiving votes for one in the nation.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably in most cases, most polls, most predictions, you guys were probably on the losing end. How did that feel going into it? No, like, and then afterwards, knowing like, oh my God, we just upset the number four team in the nation. We're going dancing, like, and to the fact that you did it in three as well, which is absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. And it's not like, oh, it was like 29-27. Like you guys did it pretty handedly. How did it feel like having that win, and how did that impact like your team's morale?
Yeah. I think honestly, like, so this 2 years, I think would have been the first time. So the New Max semifinals beat Springfield reverse sweep, and that was the first time I had ever beaten Springfield. It was also the first time that Smith had beaten Springfield since 2005, I think. And then the same thing with MIT in the conference championship, first time I think since 2005. So which is just like crazy. And I think honestly, after we beat Springfield in the New Mexico semifinals, we just kept being like, why not us? Like, why not us? Like we put in the work to be here. Like we deserve to be here. So I think that was our biggest mantra going in. We get back to the hotel, start looking through film, and we're like, hey, like anybody can do it. Why not us? So, and then, to get to MIT, it was really just like after we won, we were just like, what just happened? It was more the shock. And then just this like this, I don't know, just this feeling of wow, like this happened. Because I know when Greg became the head coach here, in 2020, like the team was at the bottom of the New Mac poll. Like it was us and Mount Holyoke. Like we were punching bags for the conference. Like, but then to be able to turn around and win the conference championship, 4 years later, like it took a lot of work and took a lot of prep and just a lot of scout. It took a lot of things. And so I give Greg a lot of credit and a lot of student athletes and the rest of our staff. Like we've absolutely put in the work and we've grinded and we're here for a reason. So it made everything the past 4 years just worth it. So
I mean, I can't like we celebrated hard when we made our first E8, beating Geneseo in three, when we were expected to
yeah,
go to at least five when we made our first E8 tournament in general. So I can't imagine like, especially being at MIT, in that environment,
yeah.
that's gotta feel, and obviously the momentum showed because you guys swept Endicott in the first round, right?
In the first round, yep. We
Yeah.
swept Endicott,
Endicott
went down.
is probably, in my opinion, has one of the best young cores in the nation, with McGuire, Hellenbrook, all of them. So that. I mean, they just showed it wasn't a fluke. But I
Yeah,
just going kind of continuing the NUMAC conference conversation. Obviously, the NUMAC is full of tons and tons of talent. Just overall, but I want to focus on one specific position. How does it feel playing in a conference where pretty much every team has an extremely established all region potential setter, at the helm? Like obviously Babson has Ackerman, you guys have Gwynn, Kaylee May at MIT. So kind of like, how does it feel like just being able to see probably one of the hardest mental positions do their work throughout the conference, whether it's just if you're just talking about Gwynn with you guys or any other setter, kind of in my opinion, one of the best setting conferences in the nation.
yeah, absolutely. I think being able to work with Taylor for unfortunately only 1 year this year, but being able to work with her was just like mind opening. Like the amount of work that she puts in is just unreal. And then you obviously see it, like you said, with Zoe Ackerman. But Kaylee May is, and I told her this after the conference championship. I was like, you are an All-American for a reason. Like she is a very, 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 very good player. So I think just being able to see the high level of setting that we have throughout the conference has been amazing. And just being able to see the high level, and that contributes also to the high level of play throughout the conference. I mean, 1 through 6, 1 through 7 on any day, like somebody can beat somebody. So I think that's really awesome. I mean, there's a point where we're having 14, there was a conversation that 4 New Mex teams will be in the NCAA tournament. Like that doesn't happen besides the UAA and maybe the MESCA. So I think that just speaks to such our high level of play in the conference that on any given day, anything can happen. So, but yeah, the setter position in our conference is awesome. It's some really, really high level play. And just being able to see that day in and day out with Taylor has been awesome.
I mean, I love watching the new Mac because specifically because of like how like a lot of the top teams run that 5-1 system.
Yeah.
Especially since like the Empire 8, most teams in our conference are running some version of the 6-2-5-2, with the exception of probably I'd say St. John Fisher, who
Mhm.
runs with Riley Morrow, a 5-1. But like Tessa Grover at Nash, she ran probably one of the best 6-2 six rotation setters in the nation, in my opinion. But I just love watching the new Mac because the 5-1 system is what I grew up knowing, what I grew up playing
Mhm.
with. So just kind of seeing a setter up doing things on both the defensive and offensive end,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. So, and then kind of call back to like your answer. Obviously, you mentioned you only got to work with Taylor for 1 year. But just kind of in general, like I feel like Smith has got to be such a fun team to work with, regardless of how long you work with them. What are some like off the court, out of practice, off the court memories that you just will never forget from either your first season at Smith now? Are there
Yeah.
any specific players that just stuck out? For example, like me with Sage, one player I'm never gonna forget is this setter turned DS M Friedel. She's an absolute goofball. Cannot go a practice without laughing because of her. And then like her and her little duo, Maddie Matshot, those two, they kind of make it so it's impossible. Like we could lose 3 sets to none and not break 10 points, and it would still be impossible not to smile just because of the energy they give off. I mean, we played Among Us. They had a race to see who could eat fruit roll up the fastest with our assistant coach. So I mean, like, what's just one, even if it's just a specific player memory or like a whole
Yeah.
team memory that you just will never forget because of how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many memories, like you can't even keep track of them. But I think one of the biggest things I'll always remember is always just like our road trips. I feel like every year we took one big road trip, and that was just like really, really fun. I remember my second year as a GA, we took an opening trip to Ohio. We went to Cedar Point, and they host a tournament there every year. So the deal was you got like 4 games during the day, and then you got tickets to go to the theme park. So just like going to the theme park, and there was one ride specifically that was never in a line. So we would just catch us all, just run the ride, do the ride, and then we just like sprint to get on the next. It was just like a really fun time that we just didn't worry about volleyball. And there's video of all of us just running around, and it still circulates in the group chats, sometimes. But it's always just a good time, and just some of those memories like that are just off the court you'll never forget for as long as you live. And like sometimes the wins and losses aren't what people remember. It'll be more about just the memories that you had with that group. So I think that will be really fun to remember. And I think also I have to give a big shout out to the senior class that is graduating just because they came in, like they were recruited during COVID. Some of them didn't even see like the campus, and they were also the first group that I really coached. So being to see them from the beginning when we first got them to being like, hey, we're at the bottom of the NUMAC poll, like we got to go to them finishing their career as NUMAC champions, like that is definitely going to be one of the biggest memories that I have for sure.
I mean, obviously you mentioned like going from the bottom to the top. And I guess like kind of follow-up question to that with memories, it's like obviously the MIT win is big. It was insane. Like really any Division 3 volleyball fan would have picked MIT. I had MIT
Yeah.
on my NUMAC bracket. Like it was incredible to see. But I do have to ask, like, what's a game that you guys realized, like, oh my goodness, like we can, like, whether it's like we are here, like whether it was from like a spring tournament game that really means nothing, like a
Yeah.
preseason scrimmage. Like for example, at Sage, I feel like the big win for us was when we beat Oneana, who had beaten us, I think, like 3 or 4 years straight from there. So like what's a win that like made you get realize, like whether it was this year, last year, like, oh my, we have something here. Like we are going to go far. Like even if you didn't at the time think tournament, you just thought like, oh my God, this is a turnaround season.
Yeah. I think going back to that tournament in Ohio, we ended up playing Case Western in that first opening weekend, and we are like, oh boy, like UAA, like top three, top four of the UAA, like a very well coached team. We ended up winning in five, and that's when the staff looked at each other and were like, we have something special with this group. Like genuinely, we have very something special with this group. It might take some time to get there, but like this team is going to do something. And obviously they did, and it was something. Like winning that fifth set was just really it really meant a lot to that group. And it's funny you mentioned that because we were just reminiscing about it in the office earlier today, just talking about like that trip and everything. So that's probably why it's at the top of my mind.
I mean, those kind of games, especially the ones that you win in five, when
Yeah.
realistically you weren't expected to win. I mean, that's gotta feel great. But I do have to ask, like, kind of like going on competition. Obviously, the UAA is insanely talented. Shout out the Court Captains podcast. One of their members, I should say, keeps requesting because they played at U Chicago and is the
Mhm.
Chicago assist leader. So that's UAA is insane. But like, how does your non-con competition compare to your in-conference competition? Because obviously the NUMAC is insane in terms of talent. Like obviously, like you have MIT who's top five, Babson receiving votes, Smith receiving votes. So kind of like in general, how did it go feel going from like your non-con schedule, or maybe you're playing teams that aren't the best in terms of like their conference and like in terms
Yeah.
of record, to kind of going into new Mac play? Like, is there a major difference? Just kind of speak on that.
Yeah, I think honestly, we do a really good job of building our schedule, especially now with MPI. We do a really good job building our schedule to kind of get the best our bang for our buck. So kind of like really build it to where we can get some, not as strong opponents in there and kind of like figure out who we are as a team, but then also get some stronger opponents and stronger wins in there where it helps us build our MPI, God forbid if something go wrong in conference, that we still have a chance at not large and are still able to build that. So I think that's really important. And then also for us, like we've realized that us and the NESCAC are very much like, especially when the old committee rankings, like if the UA or if the NESCAC didn't get a team, the NUMAC would get a team, or vice versa. So we're trying to stay pretty smart about that. But I think, trying to build it the best of our ability to be able to get really strong wins, but then also get some really quality wins to be allow us to figure out who we are, which I think is super important.
So I mean, our non-con schedule was actually, I think, a lot easier than our conference schedule. But I
Hmm.
definitely get balancing that, especially with NBI. I mean, I've seen NESCAC live. I've seen that conference live. So I definitely know what you're talking about in terms of the level of play. But kind
Yeah.
of like going back to an earlier question, I guess answer you had. Obviously, you mentioned that you spoke to Kaylee May after the new MAC championship. Is she? I have to ask, is she your favorite opponent to watch play, or is there someone like from like a non-con team maybe that you just like love watching play as a coach? Like you just if they make an insane play, you're not like dang it, like we should have had that. You're kind of like, well, I mean, it's her. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, I think Kaylee May has to be that person for me. Some the way that she just runs her offense with that speed, like it's a legit offense, and they do a really good job of doing so. So I have to give them a lot of credit, and give Kaylee a lot of credit. Like she's a very good athlete, and which I'm sure on top of being a really great student going to MIT. So I give her a lot of credit. Like their offense is fast, she's clean with her hands, she's aggressive, like she's everything that you'd want in a setter. So I give her a lot of props.
I mean, for us, it was definitely when we played Brockport, their libero Elsie Logan. She's probably one of the, in my opinion, one of the best serve receive liberos in the nation. And we walked up to her coaching staff, who I'm pretty sure the head coach played at Pitt. And we go, can you teach her to like make an error? Like she's just that good. Like, has she ever thought about shaking a ball once in a while? But shout out her. I mean, I saw a couple MIT games because me and the head coach during the tournament, we were like talking the whole time at the Mia Roz at Sage and kind of watching those tournament games, not together, but together. And I definitely understand watching her do what she does. But kind of like one final question I have
Yeah,
is I've mentioned it at the beginning, I mentioned it pre-recording, but like congrats on the 30 under 30 is such an incredible achievement. And I just want to know like how did like when Smith found out, not you,
yeah.
but like everyone else at Smith, your team, your fellow coaches, how did they like support you? Was it like a chain of text messages? Did they like throw you like a party or something? Like kind
Yeah,
of like how did you make you they make you feel supported in that moment?
yeah, that's a great question. I think with Smith, it's such a supportive community. So our head coach Greg actually announced it to our team beforehand. So that was really awesome. And just like we had the graduating seniors there at practice because they were helping us scrimmage. So they were there, and that was like really sentimental for me. Just having everybody there. And I honestly am not like a big awards person. Like I do not like it's about the athletes for me. I do not like having that spotlight. I love supporting the athletes and doing whatever they can and doing whatever I can to be the best for them. But then, just people like stopping me in the hallway and be like, hey, congrats on the award. Or we were out in a tournament recruiting and somebody was like, hey, congrats on the award. And I was like, thanks, man. Like, I really appreciate that. So that was really awesome. And then the support here at Smith is unmatched. You can't find it, I don't think, honestly, anywhere else. So I think just having that through the community, through the team, through the staff, like it felt good. And this just for me, like it's great to receive. We know we still got a lot of work to do. So it's still working and grinding and trying to figure out how we're going to get past that roadblock at around the 32 and find our way to Elite Eight national championship game.
I mean, I like you spoke
Yeah.
on getting told at like tournaments, congratulations, and kind of just shows how like how not only tightly knit this community is, but how like
Yeah.
closely we pay attention to things like that, whether it's All American awards, 30 under 30 awards, weekly awards, etc. It was kind of that. Um, But I do have to say, like, thank you for coming on. This is another example of like showing how like tightly knit the community is, especially like in Division 3. I mean, I posted a team, I think it was the Center Illinois College game, and Illinois College had lost that game, but they were so adamant on it being such a good game, regardless of the
Mhm.
outcome, that they wanted it posted. There was another team that did it, but I can't remember who it was. They got swept and they were like, "Hey, post this game. We got swept, but like it was an incredible game." So
Yeah.
I just love that. But once again, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
thank you
on.
for having me. I really appreciate it. And then honestly, what you're doing for D3 sports and like D3 women's volleyball, like is awesome. I know my team loves it. Like just being able to get that extra recognition, like I think it's been really fun to see. And I know people are following it and people are watching. So congrats on doing this and like kudos to you and just keep up
Oh,
doing some
thank
amazing
thank you
work.
so much. And
So
like I said on my
yeah.
my story the other day, like going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, everything happens by chance. You're like, for
Yeah.
example, with the if Laverne never upsets in the NCAA tournament, this page probably never happens. So shout
Yeah.
shout out Laverne, shout out ULV. But once again, thanks for coming on. It's
Awesome.
great having you. Uh, other than that, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all. Awesome. Thank you for having me again. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right.